Pentacles can sometimes be considered the most easy or basic suit, but it's a lot more complex than people give it credit for. If you're new to tarot, or if you're a seasoned reader, this episode should give you a lot of new information to really marinate in. I'm Henry Alexander, and this is the Book of Mirrors. Episode 2, on the Suit of Pentacles. Today we're going to dive into the Suit of Pentacles. This is part of the minor arcana, and it's usually associated with wealth, prosperity, and health. But there's a lot more to it, depending on which theory you look into. There are 5 main theories used when you interpret the suits of the minor arcana. Each one of them acts as a lens that can change your perspective. You can either look at things through a psychological model or something as old as an alchemical one. You don't have to memorize every single theory for every single suit. Just listen through the episode, and whatever sticks, sticks. Whatever you're able to recall later will just add more depth and give you more options when you do a reading. The first theory used for the suits is the psychological theory. This looks at things from a lens of psychology, thus the name. Using this perspective, tarot is used as a means of self-reflection or therapy. This was popularized by a lot of psychologists such as Carl Jung. In this theory, the pentacles represent self-worth, security, health, and real-world achievements, things that are tangible, things that are objectively more objective. These can loosely be linked to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In this hierarchy, we value things such as physical safety, food, water, shelter. Our basic needs need to be met before we can move on to more complicated things like self-realization, which would be found in other suits. This can also refer to love and belonging with a family or a group of friends who offer us not just emotional support, but in some instances, physical and financial support. You can think of pentacles in this theory as the most basic thing we need before we can even think about the other suits. If you're interested in learning more about this theory, I highly suggest the Archetypal Tarot podcast. They do a much more in-depth analysis of this. Our second theory is the Elemental Theory. This is more popular in classic and esoteric traditions. In this tradition, as you may have heard before, pentacles correspond to the element of earth. Earth is known for being stable, fertile, and grounded. You can think of common phrases we use like, "This person is my rock." Again, though, this refers to something tangible, something real that you can grasp and hold on to. We'll do a future episode on elemental theory that's more broad than just the tarot, but for now, that's all you really need to understand. To learn more about this theory, I suggest the Hermit's Lamp podcast. Now, the next theory is a lot of fun to work with. This is the Astrological Theory. This is influenced by the different traditions of the zodiac and astrology. In this tradition, each element corresponds to 3 signs. In the Astrological Theory, the pentacles correspond with our earth signs, so those will be Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. This theory is easiest to use when you have some familiarity with the zodiac signs. You can attribute certain traits of each sign to each card. Or you can go the other way around. When you start to understand the energy or the meaning behind a card, which zodiac sign does that correspond to? Again, this adds more layers and more depth to your readings. The YouTube channel Astrology with Heather is a great resource if you're looking to learn more about how you can incorporate astrology into your tarot readings. Before we move on to our next theory, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, leave comments, all those nice things so that I know this is something you're enjoying. The fourth theory is the alchemical or spiritual evolution theory. When we talk about alchemy, we're not talking about the literal changing of lead to gold. Many modern-day occultists consider this to be a metaphor for spiritual and personal development, where we're taking something crude, like the element of lead, and slowly perfecting it until it improves and becomes the most perfect version of itself, gold. Each stage of changing has a different name and a different process with it. In the alchemical theory, pentacles corresponds with the stage of coagulation. You can think of pentacles being the physical side effects of spiritual improvement. As things within you become better, the things around you will start to improve as well. In that way, there's a correspondence between the tangible world and the inner intangible world. The YouTube channel Esoterica is an excellent resource if you want to learn more about this theory. Now, I'm going to admit this last theory I'm not incredibly familiar with. It's relatively new to me. This is the social class theory. This looks at the tarot through a historical lens. A great resource for this is going to be the Occult of Personality podcast. In this theory, Pentacles corresponds to the merchant or artisan class. You can think of it as something physical and tangible. If you're thinking of the Astrological Theory, that would correspond to maybe Taurus, a very sensual sign, involved with everything it can feel, see, taste, or touch. An example of how this would work would be the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles is often associated with skilled labor or collaboration, a bringing together of minds and talents to create something more beautiful and intricate than they could create on their own. Each of these theories looks at pentacles in a different way, but they still have an underlying correspondence. Pentacles corresponds to the physical, the real, the tangible. And for a lot of us, that means money, housing, food, safety. It's those basic needs that we need to have met, and there are many different ways that we can have them met. But it's not just those things. It's also how those things make us feel. We feel differently when we are in good health versus poor health. We feel differently when we know we have a safe place to sleep at night. We feel differently when we know we have excess money to spend. Drawing a card from the Suit of Pentacles is not just saying you'll gain money or you'll lose money. Think of it like a ripple. Yes, you can have money or you can have health or security. But what does that affect? How does that move outward? If you have more money, you have more confidence. You know you're going to be okay if things turn south. If you're in good health, you may take more risks. Don't just ask what pentacles represent. Ask what those representations do to you emotionally and mentally. If we look back at the alchemical theory, there's a connection between the outside world and the inside world. It's like some people say, the things you own end up owning you.